Hey guys, Rick Denham here with Holy Moly Outdoors. Today we're featuring a seminar series done at the Something Catchy Kokanee Derby over on Lake Chelan. Frank Bellinger, owner of Frank's Fly Box, and Sam Baird, Slammin Salmon Guide Service, are both going to be giving a presentation on how to catch kokanee in Lake Chelan. Today up first, we have Frank, and he's going to explore a little bit more onto his how-tos to Lake Chelan kokanee. Let's get started here with the first of part one of this series. Take care and fish on.
My name is Frank Bellinger. I run Frank's Fly Box out of Hillsboro, Oregon. Love doing stuff for Something Catchy. It's always great to come to Chelan. I tell people all the time I'm not a pro. I love kokanee fish. The first time I visited Chelan was back in 2012, and that's when I was stationed in California. And I drove from California, from Sacramento, to fish Chelan. I fished it. I used to be a huge bass fisherman. Nobody twitches a Senko worm, or used to, like this guy, you know. And I got back from Chelan, I sold everything. I sold my striper gear, my tuna gear, my bass gear, my fly fishing gear. I'm a fly box with no fly rod or flies, because it's, you know, I gave it all up for kokanee. I love doing it. I average about 9,000 miles a year driving Chelan, because this fishery is unique. I mean, the gin clear water, the kokanee, you know, the random king, it's a great place to come up and fish, and I love it. So I just wanted to share a couple of things that I do. You know, again, this is not holy writ. This is not kokanee gospel. It's just stuff that I like to do personally. And one thing that I think the miles really help with is I can't afford to get lazy. You know, I'll drive up. I'll get to Jason's house. I stay with Jason all the time. I'll get to and Lisa. Excuse me. Sorry. Stay with Jason and Lisa, and I'll show up at their house at, you know, midnight, because I got off of work, shot my way up 7 hours from my house, fish Saturday and Sunday, and drive back home. You know, so I don't have a whole lot of time to be lazy or to not try new things. It was, in fact, for 3 years now, I haven't carried anything but the flies on the boat, and not because they're the best thing ever. They're better than everybody else. It simply forces me to adapt. If I'm not up here catching fish, there's something I need to do differently. And I think a lot of the innovation that I've personally put into these has been born from those hours I've spent staring at I-5. You know, the hours I've spent coming over Snoqualmie Pass and being kind of scared because it was January and it was pretty nasty. So we came up and fished this January. It took us 45 minutes to get out of Jason's driveway. Took chains to launch and everything. It was a great time. This lake is like nothing I've ever experienced. So I wanted to share just a few of the things. While we're talking, if you could, don't get it on you, but you could take a whiff of that and just pass it around. One thing I like to run, you know, I was introduced to a scent combination called Cosmic Funk in 2012. It's a mixture of XXX crawfish, squid, and ultra clam. It's the Smelly Jelly XXX base. It's very thick, and then you can microwave it. Which, if you microwave it in the house, tell your wife you're sorry. You know, don't. I once dropped a jar in the house and then I moved because yes, that was it. In fact, I microwaved 3 jars before coming up here for the Derby, and it's a good thing I was driving 700 miles to get out of there, because otherwise I might not be here with you folks.
So what was that combination again?
It's XXX crawfish base. I microwave it for about, you do it in little 15-second increments, because again, it's bad. You pour out about half of it, and then you mix in the Smelly Jelly, ultra clam, and squid. And that's their sticky liquid. So you've got that base. It's very, it's thick. You can notice right there it's a paste. And I take a Dodger and I smear a little bit on the concave part of the Dodger, and you're leaving a centric. I refresh it about every 20 to 30 minutes. It will last all day, but you know, I like to put it on there, and it leaves a scent trail. I like to, a lot of things I like to do, you know, and I've talked to Sam quite a bit about, you know, scent trails, how fish pick up parts per billion in water, how they can pick that up with the sense of smell. So You don't need parts per billion. You need like 1 part for 1 part from that face right there. Oh, he's going for a second whip. I like that. That's that's a hardcore kokanee fisherman. So that's one of the core staples of what I run. I'd be happy, anybody here, if you want to talk about the exact process of mixing that later, more than happy to do that. Another thing is, some of you may know I've been waging my own personal war on corn for 3 years now. I've been corn free for 5 years. It's not that it doesn't work. It obviously works. I just think it's obsolete. You know, I don't drive my old Land Cruiser to work. I drive my new truck. It gets better gas mileage, works better, things like that. You know, and Sam, I've talked to Sam a lot about this, and we have a lot. Anybody who's a member of like any of the internet forums sees a lot of. We have too much time, basically. That's what they see, and we go back and forth. But I like the maggots because, and like Sam has pointed out to me before, these are sockeye. These are, you know, salmon. They don't know what corn is. They don't know what maggot is. They're not like sitting there. Oh wow, that's, you know. I've had so many people tell me you have to get the Green Giant steamed crisp corn. It's got to be the Jolly Green Giant. It's got to be this stuff. And it's like, because, you know, we run into kokanee down at Safeway, and they're in the aisle too, like, no, that's the part right there, that's what I want. They don't know what this is. And so how many of you have used corn, you put it on the tip on your hooks, and you drop it down only to see your corn float to the surface of the lake? I personally don't enjoy that. You know, especially if you're dropping 100 feet down at Chelan, and it's irritating, you know. For a long time, before I upgraded down here on my boat, I had to stack. And friends don't let friends stack, but that's another story. And you know, you get your deep rod going, it's down there at 100 feet trolling away, and then you see your corn float to the surface of the lake. Berkeley maggots don't do that. They, you know, they'll last for several fish if you want them to. They do not come off. You stick them on there, and they're there. They absorb water-based scents. I like to use, I've got like ProPure water-soluble stuff in here. Salmon's has introduced me to a couple new flavors I'm personally looking forward to trying. I've used Potsky's Nectar before. You'll see them visibly plump as they soak that up. And then again, you're tipping that on there, and you leave a scent trail. So that's something else that I really like to do. I wanted to show you, this is not, I'm not here, God knows I'm not here to sell any, because I don't have any to sell. I'm really backed up, and I apologize to some people that have been waiting for a long time. I'm a huge fan of metallics. And I pass this around. There's certain individuals out there, this come back light, and a bunch of shifty people. But you know, I've got one of my best producers so far this year has been. Oh, I'm sorry. One of my best producers so far this year, and Zach actually, Zach McGlother. When I showed this to him, he had to. It took him about an hour to get over it. Of course, this being weird with me. I apologize. Somebody like do a dance or something, distract everyone. There we go. Is this number 3 Pentac blade? I mean, that is a big, hefty metal blade. That thing, I mean, it is heavy. It weighs quite a bit. It weighs more than the fly by 3 to 4 times. But you put it on a plastic clevis. You run it at 1.2, that thing is down there putting off a lot of light. It's 50-50 silver and gold. Silver is the most reflective metal known to man. There's obviously, you know, synthetic materials that will be more reflective, but as far as metallic finish, silver is about at the 95 percentile. And that's kind of the difference that I have found between like nickel. Nickel and chrome is about 45% of light reflected. It absorbs quite the light that hits it. But gold is in the 85%, and then silver again is 95% reflective. So when you're down deep, you obviously don't have. A guy once told me that, you know, you're fishing with the light. When you're that deep down, you're fishing with the light that you bring with you. Materials that reflect it, glow, UV rays penetrate, you know, quite a bit farther than normal light spectrum. You know, ultraviolet. Violet is the longest light wavelength. Ultraviolet, beyond that scale, is even longer wavelength, and it penetrates deeper. You can watch a fluorescent green Scotty down underclip to 50 to 60 feet in Chelan. you know, and your lures are doing, if you've got UV on your lures, you're doing the same thing. Finally, one thing that I can't stress enough, and it has nothing to do with tackle, it's something I really enjoy. Hope nobody spilled that Cosmic Funk because I've got the lid right here. Is I started keeping a fish log. There's some people that fish, you know, Sam fishes Chelan all the time. He knows all the time. But I mean, I drive quite a ways to fish it, and my memory isn't the best. But I'm looking at my fish log right here from the Derby last year, from the 2015 Derby. And at 8:28 a.m., I caught a kokanee on a cotton candy with a Moon Jelly Simon Wobbler and a gold blade on the candy. I was 92 feet down. I was in 235 feet of water. The water temperature was 51 degrees. The speed was 1.2 and the leader was 8 inches. And it's not because I know, I am a little OCD about it as well. But I don't like the feel. I love kokanee fishing. I go to all sorts of new lakes. And I hate looking out at the lake with trepidation, with, you know, with worry. When you look out at a new lake and you're thinking, you know, I don't know what to do. I don't like that feeling. I personally like to feel excitement when I look out at a new lake. Or my first time back to Chelan, I like to be ready to go. But you come back after, you know, you stop fishing Chelan in June, July, and you come back in January if you're crazy, or March if you're like somewhat normal. And it's tough. You look at all the dodgers in your box, you look at all your lures, and you're wondering, what do I use? You know, these fish aren't, these are fit. These fish aren't changing over. They're not, I mean, they're new fish. You got fish born, fish that are die. But, you know, they're not new species moving in here. There's not new guy orientation. Chances are, if you want a place to start off last year's information. You know, it even works, you know, yesterday at 7:40, I used a clown candy with shaker wing and a Bahama Mama. I was using shrimp scent. I was using 12-inch leader. My speed was 1.2. My lure depth was 90. My water depth is 80 feet. The water temperature is 50. And again, it was 7:40 in the morning. So tomorrow, about 7:40 in the morning, if I'm stuck and I need answers, I go to my fish log. So again, it's all to your personal level of OCD or personal level of what you're really looking for. But I love fishing up here so much, and it is, you know, such a drive for me to do so that, you know, I have to maximize my time. I don't have, you know, a couple extra days to go sort through dodgers that I don't know or presentations that I don't know. I like to record all those down. So you guys look at me like I'm kind of crazy, and I am. I'm the guy that, like, every bead in my tackle box is in its proper drawer. You know, I love to organize things like that. But again, it's also made me appreciate Chelan. I love coming to this derby. I love fishing this lake. I fish this lake. Merwin is 90 minutes from my house, and I've fished it for 2 years. Chelan is 352 miles from my front door, and I fish it every moment I can. My job has an office up here, but I ended up divorced, so I stay far away, and that way it's kind of a control. So I've talked quite a bit. Again, I wanted to go over Cosmic Funk. I'll be happy to talk about that with anybody that has any questions. You know, preparation for Berkeley maggots. I did want to do a quick shout out. Again, this is not an advertisement, but Frank's Fly Box is putting on a photo contest. And you can use any lure you want. I don't care what it is. But you take a picture of you fishing with a kokanee lure with something tipped other than corn. It could be anything. It could be a chunk of hot dog. It could be anything. A piece of an old shoe. I don't care. You take a picture of you using something other than corn, and each person can submit 2 pictures. One, for every picture submitted, we're buying a unit of canned food goods. And 2, your name gets entered into drawing. October 1st, we're gonna select names for the drawing. It's $150 in tackle and hat, and the person who wins gets to decide the food bank where this food's going. So, you know, if it's I know people love their corn, but, you know, jar of maggots is a couple bucks. Go out, pick up a jar of maggots, take a picture, send it in. You know, it's on my website, the details. get yourself entered for some free gear, and we're gonna do something good. You know, feed some people and actually put core to good use instead of what we do with it here. So, is there any questions before I finish up?
Is there a certain rule to follow to, you know, Lake Chelan is a big lake. It's like, where are you going to find it? Under what conditions? You go, you know, I know it's water temperature, and the sun on the water with a cloudy day, or
Sure.
front coming in.
So there's a couple of things there. First of all, cloudy versus sunny. Take a UV item outside when it's cloudy and watch how much that pops, because the clouds are robbing natural light from the visible spectrum, but UV light penetrates it. Take something out there, just look how, I mean, it just pops. So when you have that cloudy day, I shift to UV. Metallic, you know, it reflects sunlight, but you got to have direct sunlight for that to reflect on. So my general rule of thumb is it's bright and sunny, maybe not go full gold, because that does get rather reflective and everything. Although I do love 100 feet down, you know, a lot of gold puts off, it's gathering that little bit of light that's down there and reflecting it. If it's intense sun and the fish are shallow, I shift to nickel and chrome, because that's about 45% of the light that hits it. And then when it's cloudy, overcast, or raining, except for today, I didn't fish today because I'm scared, it would be a UV heavy presentation, because again, the visible spectrum is being robbed of that direct light, but that ultraviolet light penetrates the clouds. As far as knowing where to fish, it's tough, because you guys have so many different names. Hey, have you tried, you know, like Picker Point? And it's like, I Googled that and it didn't come up. One, I love how open this community is. In California, people would take pictures there. When I was stationed in California, people would take pictures of their catch. They would blur the background of the photo, first of all. They would call it Lake X or Lake Y. They would, people on the radio would call it, hey, we're using lure A, was set to B. I mean, nobody told each other anything. It was very hard. I never really kokanee fished in California, even though California's got Whiskey Town, Berryessa, big kokanee destinations, but it's extremely difficult to get into it because nobody talks. Here, I would almost say we talk too much. We, you know, get on the Northwest Kokanee Addicts page and F up with each other and everything. You know, it's but it's a great place. A guy once told me, ask questions until they punch you or run away. And I'm not ashamed to ask questions. I mean, it's you know, my dad always told me it's a sign of weakness to assume you know rather than ask. And I drive a long way. I like to ask. You know, I don't need your exact, you know, how deep are you? I don't really like that question. Fish will travel. You watch them on the fish finder. Fish will travel 50 to 60 feet to smack that lure. But you know what? Where were you? Any hot colors, hot scents, things like that. I mean, you don't have to go into huge detail, but you know, I love how people share here, and that's how I figured it out. Is people sharing information. I think I answered your question. Did I leave anything out? Yes, sir.
You add scent to your maggots, bushing maggots, or you use them just right out of the jar?
Right out of the jar. And again, you know, Sam loves corn, things like that, and some people don't like scent at all. You know, Berkeley spent a lot of years developing the Glow formula. It's very effective. On its own, they work. I like to add, I added Procure water-soluble shrimp to these. I like running shrimp. You know, I like using the Cosmic Funk. I put that on the Dodger. I soak the maggots in whatever. You could pair things like, you know, garlic and garlic, or garlic and squid, things like that. You know, it's kind of the sky's the limit, and the fish will tell you what they want. I take notes. I have a whole separate sheet. It's going to make me sound crazy, but it's a whole separate sheet of things that I learned. You know, yesterday I learned that anise didn't catch me any fish, but shrimp did. So you know what? Maybe go start with anise tomorrow. So again, that kind of playing around and figuring stuff out, and that's part of why I love this fishery so much, is the broad range of everything. You know, we're kind of crazy. how do you become a millionaire with a tackle company? Start out as a billionaire. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, we spend a lot of money. So, you know, copious notes, figure out what they want. They'll tell you. They can't talk, but they'll tell you. They'll smack it or not, you know, and you'll find things that your favorites. So, any other questions?
Hey guys, thanks for watching part 1 of the Something Catchy Kokanee Derby seminar with Frank Bellinger, owner of Frank's Flybox. Please stay tuned and look for the next part 2 of the seminar where Sam Baird is going to share his information, owner of Slammin Salmon Guide Service. There's a lot of great information here to come, guys. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and fish on.